I was scrolling on LinkedIn these days. I think it was last Sunday, and Tom made a post there saying that people nowadays are trying to learn how to develop softwares, SaaS, SaaS, to, I don't know, maybe as a miracle or something like that that would make them rich overnight. It's very good. If you want to read, I'll leave the link in below. I think LinkedIn probably translate to
Yep.
the language that you need to read. So it's really good. Uh, Don, you are the expert. You are the senior development. You are the engineer guy. What do you have to say about that? Like, explain to everybody who's watching what was in the post, and yeah, what's your ideas?
Yeah. So what motivated me to write that is that I saw a lot of people on my LinkedIn changing careers to become developers, front end developers, back end developers that they were in a completely different industry before, and now they're trying to break into the industry. And I think that's very positive for everybody. Um, in my opinion, AI tends to increase demand instead of lowering the demand in the long term. There's a nice story about that. I don't know if you heard about it, but there was a hospital in US. I don't remember exactly where, uh, that they used to have radiologists, a few radiologists there, and they did the X-rays, and that's what their only job. Until at some point, the hospital bought a software that would do the analysis of the X-ray, right? So theoretically, they did not need radiologists anymore. And in the short term, some of the radiologists lose jobs because now they need few radiologists to do the same thing. So one radiologist could do the work of like five other radiologists because of AI, right? Because AI will do all the analysis. They just need to like basically review it. But in the long term, what happened is that because it became so cheap to do the X-ray, and because it was so fast, more doctors start to asking for X-rays, which increased the demand a lot, which required more radiologists, right? And I think the same is happening already in software development because it's so easy now. Like writing code is so easy now and so fast with AI that the increase to more features and more software will increase a lot, which will demand more people. And my post was like a positive post about that. And what I did is just like, what would I do? What would I do if I was starting today, taking advantage of AI? And then I put a series of things. And one of the main things is that writing code was never the hardest part of software development. Like actually typing was the slowest part, but not the hardest part. The hardest part is understanding the requirement, actually gathering the correct requirements, understand the requirement, and translating the business logic or the business necessity into code, right? So once you have all of that, once you understand and you know what needs to be done, then you can delegate the code writing, right? That's the easiest part. But it was the slowest. And that's one thing why senior software developers never wrote code or wrote very little code. The more senior you were or you are,
The
less
less you
code
write.
you will write, but more review you will do, more meetings to understand the requirements you will do, more analysis on infrastructure you will do. All this part, this is the hard part. This is what we can't quite automate just yet. We can a little bit, but not all of it. And the other part is always that AI can never answer for their acts. Only people can answer for their acts. And so AI will never take all, like, over
Responsibility.
everything or responsibility. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't sue an AI, for example, right? That's
Right.
why we don't have AI lawyers, and probably will never have, or AI doctors. You need
Right.
someone that can answer for that, right? Um, and that's some of the things that I talk on my post.
Yeah, and I think when and you said something that it's real. It's very amusing because I remember when I first started like searching for things to learn, and then I started to learn SQL for data analysis. I started to learn Python. It's very amusing. I kind of was like, "Whoa, that's so nice! I can write it down now." Da, da, da. When I first started, I remember you teaching me like some things that I was like, "Whoa, that's so cool," and it is the like you said, it was like really easy. But the moment that you said, now we need to make this to fix this problem, stop doing just like the easy part. Now we need to
Hmm.
build something bigger and
Hmm.
connect parts. That was when we started to see like I started myself saying, okay, this is like let's say Tone, you need to guide me on this part because I need someone like
Right.
more experienced to do that. So yeah, it makes totally sense, man.
Yeah. It's magical when you start writing things and when you start learning how to code, and especially when you start using AI. You see how magic it is with, just a few prompts or just a few code. You can see something like out of the blue, right? So a software out of the blue, a website out, like it's magical. But very rarely that will solve any problem in real life. Like solving problems is the hard part. Um, and that's what I always tell people that it's starting right now. Like if you decide to become a software developer, you need to understand that your first job is solving problems. It's not writing code. Writing code is one part, and actually a small part. You're trying to solve problems. And the moment you start thinking like that, you start owning the problem you're starting to solve, right? That's when the magic happens. Usually when you start coding or when you start your career, you're gonna get a lot of bugs to fix. That's usually what juniors start working on, because it's good, because you need to understand the code to solve a bug. So you need to read, you need to go and learn about what you're doing to solve a bug, but also will improve your problem solving skills. And the moment you learn that, well, I write this code and it's solving this problem, it's just the beginning, because solving the problem is the beginning. Now you need to make sure you're solving the problem against all the cases that it can be. And that's what separates junior with for mid and senior. That you never trust your own code. So once you code, either it's yourself or AI. Once you finish code, now you need to like change hats and saying, okay, now I'm gonna try to break my own code. Always verifying what you do is what in everything in life, actually. Like either you're doing, talking to a client, or you're doing code, or you're writing a document. Always try to see how can you break that, or how that can be interpreted in another way.
Yeah.
And that's what separates the entry level with mid and senior level people.
Cool. And this is also what separates like being only the technical part and be more like a business. Like, okay, I can
Mm,
sit and write and create, let's say, now vibe coding, I can create like a tool, but where is the business part? And yesterday I was in this event for tier. I was discussing with another founders there, and one thing that we got in common is okay, you can create a full business behind a desk, probably, but if you go out and go face to face and talk to people and see what your customer needs, you can understand better the problem that you are trying to fix, right?
Hmm.
So like after that event, I came up with a bunch of insights that we are now thinking in how to increase the input features in Midgard, for example, based on that. So yeah, it's something like, no, I know the technical part, but just build something. It's this important. Like, okay, I built something nice, but how can you turn this into a business? And like you said in the beginning, if I have more and more people building the same thing or the same tool, we're gonna have like the same tool like times 300.
Right.
Where is your tool, or how is your tool different from the other? I think it's in this part, how technical, but how good you are turning this technical part into a business process, you know,
Mm.
and it
Yeah,
grows
I
with you,
think
right?
people, yeah,
It,
people usually takes it backwards. So usually people starts with the technology and trying to find a solution or a problem to solve with that technology. But in real life, it's usually the opposite. You start with the problem, and then you try to find a technology that solves the problem. The main reason people don't do that, well, is one, when you're trying, like when you're changing careers, for example, when you go and you're studying something, you want to make use of that something, right? You want to over engineer things. That's one of the engineer mentality. You always want to over engineer things. But also, people discover very quickly that most of the problems require very easy solutions or very boring solutions, to be honest. But that's where the value is, right? And the other thing is, oh, I don't want to do this thing because other 300 people do this thing. People usually want to have something brand new. And there's two flaws to that. One is that there's nothing actually brand new.
right.
And the second is that if you have more people doing that, you now have a lot of data on how not to do it and how you can do it differently, or you can actually solve the problem. Because if you start seeing that, if you start looking closely, you'll see that there's a lot of over engineering things, over engineered things in the market that you can just stripe that down and make it simple, and people will see value on that. So don't fear of not using 100% of your knowledge just because you're solving a problem that seems boring. But going, as you said, going out and talking to people, understand their problems, that's where the value is. And that's where most of the developers, engineers don't do.
Nice. That's important, and that's that because, like we are saying, in your everybody's starting now. If you're starting now, okay, good. Start, create your tools, create your solutions, but don't forget to go out and seek for opinions, for customers' opinions, for
Even
things that can.
criticism.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, don't
yes.
fear criticism.
And I think what you said in your post, it's something that it's probably being guided by, I feel like, coaches now. They say like create a SaaS overnight and get
Hmm.
$1 million or whatever. So I think this is kind of something that it's being in the market. I think I see every day something in LinkedIn about this, and it's a very good discussion. I think we could do more of this. I don't know, what you watching, what is your perspective? Like, you think this is something more like coach vibe coding, or is just hype of the moment? What's going on? Please give your opinion down below in the comments, and we'll be happy to talk and reply. Tom will be replying also the comments. But yeah, and if you want to check Tom's post, follow him in LinkedIn. It's a good idea. He's always sharing a bunch of good information. This guy never stopped reading stuff. He knows a lot. So please come and please subscribe to our almost weekly videos here in
Right.
YouTube and our LinkedIn as well for tier. So yeah, Ton, again, nice talking to you. It's always a pleasure. It's always a learn curve. I'll be honest now. I love talking to you. I always learn something. We talk. It's amazing. Thanks, man. Appreciate again
Thanks for
our
having me.
chat, and I'll see you next video. Bye.
Bye.